Yo, what is poppin'? What is poppin', my little chode muffins? It's me, Jay. I'm back, and not just with the pod, but I'm back from vacation. I'm back from my little decompression, my little vacation, my little trip that I went on. That's right. I just went on a little vacation this past weekend. Just had a little relaxing getaway, and I gotta say, it was pretty epic. My little vacation, it was epic. It was, went to this place, and the place was epic, and I stayed at this hotel that was just, the hotel itself was just epically epic, and it was just really cool. Going to this place, it felt like I was transported into a universe, and that universe was just epic. Dare I say, it was an epic universe. That's right. I went to Epic Universe this past weekend and stayed at one of the Epic Universe hotels. I believe it was the Stella Nova, I think we stayed at. They got like two of these very colorful buildings. And one is like the Stella Nova, and the other one is like Terra Luna, I think. They got a third one called like the Helios or something like that, but that shit was crazy expensive. But that place looked pretty cool too. Wouldn't mind staying there just one time, But the place we stayed at was pretty epic. So oh god, I gotta stop saying epic. But yeah, so we went to Epic Universe, and I gotta say, I'm not gonna say it was awesome. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say the word again. It was awesome. It was really cool. I had seen videos of this place, not like of the rides or anything like that, because I didn't want to spoil anything. But like, I guess I partially spoiled, because I would watch videos of like people walking around the area and all that stuff. And I gotta say, videos and pictures does not do this place justice. Okay, I'm not gonna say it. It was awesome. It was really cool. It was just so intricately designed, detailed. I'll say it one time. It was epic. I really don't know what else to say except that I was blown away. I had my socks were blown off, as people say. I had my socks blown off. Don't know why people say that, but people say that my socks were sufficiently blown off my dogs, dude. And yeah, it was just really cool. So since we were staying at a hotel on property, we got in. I believe they let you in like an hour early. So we got in an hour early. It was pretty epic. No, but like we thought that when we were talking to the people at the hotel, we were asking them questions about early entry and this, that, and the other. And they had said that the center area called like Celestial Park, like that place opens before like the early entry. So like the park opens at 10, like normally, right? And so hotel guests are able to go in at 9 to start riding some rides and this, that, and the other. And so the guy we were talking to was like, oh yeah, but the center part of Celestial Park, that part opens even earlier than 9, right? Like you can't really go on any of the rides, but that area opens for you to go in, walk around, and all that stuff. And then you get in line for whatever area you want to go to next. That's like the rope drop of this park, is you go to like the portal that you want to go to. And that's what you rope drop. And so there was like 2 Starbucks that were there in the Celestial Park thing. So we're thinking, okay, so we're going to get there early, hella early, get into Celestial Park early, walk around, grab our coffee, and then get in line for one of these portal things. But they didn't do that. They literally held us like at the very front of Celestial Park until 9 o'clock, and then that was the rope drop. And so we had to kind of skip our coffee because we're like, we gotta book it because we gotta do all the rides. We gotta do all of them. So I wasn't able to get my Starbucks that day. But I did get Starbucks the next day. I got my, PSL, as people call it, my pumpkin spice latte, my first Starbucks pumpkin spice latte of the fall season. And it was pretty good, honestly. I've been having a few from Dunkin', but I don't know. Maybe it's like this Starbucks specifically that I went to on Sunday morning. Maybe they just were on point, but their pumpkin spice latte was fire. It's probably one of the best pumpkin spice lattes I've ever had. Now, this is not necessarily an endorsement of Starbucks. Okay, I'm still a Dunkin' boy. Okay, I'm a little Dunkin' boy. I love going to Dunkin'. And usually they got really good pumpkin spice lattes, but for some reason, man, it might have just been the Starbucks that we went to, but they were popping off with that PSL. But anyways, so we had to skip my pumpkin spice latte for that day. And by the way, speaking of coffee, I got my coffee here. Man, it feels so good to have coffee during the podcast again. I mean, it's early in the morning. The sun is shining on me. The sun's actually kind of intense right now. I don't know if you can tell, but like the sun is very bright on my face. So, but it's beautiful. I mean, hey, I can't complain. Intense sun is the best sun, except sunburn. So make sure you guys put on your sunscreen if you're going to go out in this intense sun. But I mean, it's beautiful. Here we go, talking about the weather. It always comes back to this. Beautiful weather, sun is shining on me. And yes, I got my coffee, and I got it. And like this might actually be my favorite mug of all time. This Cabana Bay. That's another Universal hotel, and I love that place. Love Cabana Bay. I want to go back. That place is just awesome. So, oh man, it feels so good to have my coffee. That's actually pumpkin spice coffee, not a latte, but it's just flavored coffee. I'm all in on the fall season. I'm so happy to start seeing the pumpkins popping up everywhere in drinks, in food, pumpkin pie, pumpkin pancakes. That's something that I usually have during the fall. Pumpkin pancakes, those things are fire too. And yeah, I'm all here for it. I just need it to get cold, There was no cold front this past weekend, so I don't know what that Florida account was talking about, but it was not cold at all. But it wasn't hot either. I mean, like I gotta say, at Epic Universe, when we went, it was a pleasant day. I wasn't sweating at all. It wasn't humid. It was just like it was a decent warmth. You know what I mean? Wasn't hot at all. And yeah. So yeah, that's my little weather report. Just typical for this podcast. Always got to give your weather report. But yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It didn't rain at all while we were there, which I mean, my weather app did not call for any sort of rain. I mean, they were saying that there could be rain in like the evening on Saturday, but that was it. But other members in my party, their weather app was saying that it was supposed to be like 50 to 60% chance of rain all day. And they're like, damn, this is going to suck. It's going to start raining while we're here. But it didn't even rain at all. So, I mean, God bless, So anyways, like I said, my little weather report. So when we first got in, we got there. We didn't really get there super early. I mean, in comparison to some other people that I've seen, and maybe this is just because it was closer to when it was like the grand opening of this place, and so people really wanted to get in. But like, I've been seeing videos of people pulling up to Epic Universe at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the freaking morning to get in line just to get in, just to go through security, And of course, security doesn't open at that point. So, I mean, you're just standing outside of the security gates, just basically waiting until 9 if you're a hotel guest and waiting till 10 if you're not. So but when we got there maybe only like at 8 in the morning. Because I mean, like our hotel was just right across the street. So we just like walked over, and we got there around 8 because like I said, the dude at the hotel was saying that Celestial Park opens at that time for people just to walk around. So we're like, okay, yeah, we'll get our coffee, We'll go through security. We'll get in. We'll walk to the Starbucks in the Celestial Park, and then we'll get in line. And by the time we get in line, after we got our Starbucks, it'd probably be like 8:30, 8:45 and all that stuff. And, but like I said, that whole plan was kind of thrown out the window when they didn't really open Celestial Park at that point. But, it was no big deal. Had a great security guard. I mean, dude, this security guard, he was living life. He was having fun. He was having fun that day. His name is Daniel. Shout out to security guard Daniel at Epic Universe. If, somehow you find your way onto my podcast, just know you were awesome. He was hyping us up. Totally from New York. Totally had, he had New York volume, New York accent. And, he was fire. He complimented my hair. He's like, that shit's popping off. I mean, he didn't say that, but, he liked it. And I'm like, okay, he's a real one. He's a real one. And yeah, so like I said, Daniel, great security guard. Anyways, so yeah, we got through security. We got in, and they finally released us at like 9. And we booked it to the Dark Universe because that was where we wanted to go first. I wanted to go on this Monsters Unleashed ride, or Monsters Unchained. I keep calling it Unleashed. I don't know why I keep doing that. Monsters Unchained, that's what it's called. So we went there first. We hopped in that line, and we sort of had a plan of like where we were gonna go and all this stuff, like that early in the morning, because we wanted to get as many rides done in that first hour. The hotel guest early entry, because that's when the lines are going to be the shortest, right? And, we've been looking at some of the wait times on the app on the days leading up to it. And of course, the Harry Potter battle at the Ministry or whatever, that was always super fucking long. And then also like the minecart ride over in the Donkey Kong area, like that was always like super fucking long. So we're like, okay, those are probably going to be ones that we're going to do like very late in the day when we've done pretty much everything else that we wanted and there's nothing else to do but to wait in these like hour-long lines. So like I said, we sort of had this plan of attack of what we were going to do. Because like I said, dude, this minecart ride was consistently at like 180 minutes or like 200 minutes. I mean, for most of the day while we were there, it was like at 220 minutes to wait. And I'm like, yeah, no, not waiting 220 minutes. Not doing that. You are crazy if you do that. Okay, just saying. Why? Anyways, but I mean, I guess if you're not if you don't live in Florida, then yeah, this might be your one time to be here. So I guess maybe if you really want to go on that ride, I mean, yeah, wait 220 minutes. I wouldn't do that, but I can go back anytime I want. But anyways, so we went to this Monsters Unchained ride, and holy shit, that ride was fucking awesome. Dare I say it was epic. I know I said I wasn't going to say that anymore, but it was epic. It was awesome. It was it was my favorite ride. It was my top ride. Even better than the battle at the Ministry. And that was actually a pretty good ride too. Okay. I did manage to get on that. That ride was pretty awesome too. So don't get me wrong. The battle was really good too, but I mean, dude, Monsters Unleashed, man. Unchained, sorry. Monsters Unchained, that was top tier. I went on that, like, even the queue, I wasn't able to really stop and, like, take a look because since we booked it there right when it opened, like, it was like a walk-on ride, you know what I mean? Because there was no one there. And, so I was just sort of like breezing through the queue, and even in the queue, it was fucking awesome. I'm looking around, I'm like, yo, look at that. Yeah, look at that. Oh shit, that's awesome. You know? Just really cool. So we got on that ride, and like I said, it was so cool. You know, they had so many animatronics, and you know, I'm a big animatronic person, okay? Like, I love when theme parks implement animatronics because I'm tired of screens. I'm tired of screens. I'm tired of putting on these fucking 3D glasses and just watching a movie. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see some animatronics. You know what I'm saying? And they had so many, and they looked so good. I mean, they looked lifelike. Just saying. that might actually be a little bit more scary than it is cool to some people. I thought it was pretty cool because I knew that I knew they weren't coming after me, you know. They were bolted to the ground, so it's not like they could actually come after me. But man, they looked so good. And it was awesome. It was a nice blend. They did have some screens, but it was done tastefully. And the animatronics were just awesome. And yeah, man, and Dr. Victoria Frankenstein. Whew. That was my favorite animatronic. No, but seriously, it was a cool story. It was, like I said, the animatronics were awesome. The visuals were awesome. The screens were implemented, I feel like, the right way. It was done really well. And I made sure to make a mental note of where the photos were in all the rides. So the first time around, oh my God, I looked horrendous in those ride photos. But like I said, I made a mental note, so I know where... Well, I think I know where all of them are. I did notice when all of them happened, and I would announce that was the picture, because you just see like a flash go off. And you know, we got a photo card, so you know I'd be saving all these ride photos, and yeah, so went on. It was fucking awesome, and we just immediately went on to the other ride that was in the Dark Universe. I don't even know what it's called, but it's like a werewolf roller coaster thing, and like the cart thing spins. That was pretty cool. It was fun. Our cart didn't really spin a whole lot. It just like sort of turned, and I was sort of riding sideways. Pause. Yo. I was, for the most of the ride, our cart was just sideways, and so I was on the roller coaster going sideways. But it was really short. That's part of my problem, is that it felt really short. You know what I mean? Like, just when I was, you know, sort of like getting into it and like enjoying the ride, they're like, so how was it? You know, we were like already back at the loading station, and I'm like, I thought there was more, you know, but it was cool. I feel like it would have been better to go on that ride at night rather than like during the day. And I feel like the whole area would look better at night. We were there when it was like, it's kind of dark, you know, it was like the sun was setting. So I got to see a little bit of it, but yeah, I feel like really, really vibing out in there when it's just pitch black and really get the ambiance going. I think like that area would be really cool. I mean, it was still really cool during the day, don't get me wrong. But then after we got off the werewolf ride, we saw that the Donkey Kong minecart thing was only like 35 minutes to wait. And we're like, all right, well, we got to go. We got to go on that ride, you know? Because our plan was, I think our plan was to go on Stardust Racers right after that. But we're like, no, let's get on this minecart thing, because we know it's just going to blow up in wait times later in the day. So, you know, we went all the way over there. We got in line, and a lot of other people noticed that it was a short wait time because a ton of other people pulled up, and we ended up waiting, I think maybe like 45 minutes actually for that ride, but that's still insanely less than what it was for the majority of the day. Because like I said, it was like 220 minutes for basically the entire day. And but we went on it. That ride was awesome too. You know, I had heard some reviews where people said that ride was like boring and it was too like kiddie and all this stuff. It just wasn't fun. And I mean, yeah, it's like you're in Nintendo. That's probably going to be geared towards kids, so you're not going to get like the fucking Hulk. But it was still really fun. It was still good. It was one of my favorite roller coasters there. So yeah, I mean, like, but we were able to go on it. It was awesome. Great ride, I gotta say. You know, it was a little rough, you know, in some parts, like you just like, they're like jolting you around and all this stuff, and you're like shaking and all this stuff. But I mean, other than that, the in a general sense, the roller coaster was really fun. And so I'm glad that we were able to go on it. And then I think after that, that's when we went on Stardust Racers, because like there was a few rides that didn't open at 9. Like there was some rides that they didn't open until like 10 when the rest of the park opened. So that was like the battle at the Ministry that didn't open until 10. The Mario Kart ride didn't open until 10. And then I think like the How to Train Your Dragon roller coaster was like Hiccups something or other. I think that didn't open until 10 either. And so we're like, okay, well, let's hit up Stardust Racers because that was only like 25 minutes. So we went on that, and I didn't get to go on both. We did plan on going back and hitting up the second one late at night, but due to how everything happened, we weren't able to make it back there until like before the park closed. But we did go on one of them. We went on the green track because I got a little recommendation. I got a little birdie in my ear before I went over, and I was told that the yellow one is supposedly a smoother ride, but the green one is more thrilling. And so I'm like, hey man, I can already tell that what I was about to say was going to be a major pause. But I was going to say, I'm the one that doesn't mind it rough. I don't mind it when it's rough, I go for the thrill rather than whether or not it's smooth. So we went on the green track, and that was awesome. That was a great fucking roller coaster. People say that it's better than Velocicoaster. Honestly, they might be onto something. They may be truthin' when it comes to that. Velocicoaster is an awesome ride, but I mean, like, this ride was just like there were so many hills and drops and spins and twists and all this stuff. And it was just awesome. It was a long ride, which was, I ain't complaining, but there was a few times where I thought like, okay, we're getting towards the end of the ride, and then it's just like, oh no, section 5, And I was like, hey, I'm here for it, And so that was awesome. Great ride. And I don't even know, what did we do after that? I think maybe after that we went to the How to Train Your Dragon area, the Burke, I think. Yeah, I think we went there. Or maybe we had lunch after that. Yeah, I think we had lunch after that. We went to the Pizza Moon place. Heard a lot of recommendations that has some great pizza. So we're like, okay, well, let's try it out. And I know I'm kind of like breezing through this sort of story of like things that we went on. But it's like, like Stardust Racers, that was in the Celestial Park area. And it had sort of like a steampunk type of design to it, sort of like Jules Verne type. I don't even know if that's really how it's described, but that's just sort of like what I felt. The whole Celestial Park area in the center, to me, felt very much like Tokyo Disney Sea from what I've seen in videos, and some of the the steampunk aspects of it. I think if you go if you're at Tokyo Disney Sea, if you go in the volcano, I think it's called Mount Olympus or something there, and they got the 20,000 Leagues ride, and they got the Journey to the Center of the Earth ride. The way that area is designed is very much like what Celestial Park was. It had that aesthetic to it, and I love that design. I think it's super cool. And so, I mean, I'm just sort of walking around these areas while, even though we're trying to, book it to all these places, so we do everything that we want to, I'm still trying to take in as much of this area as possible and take in, the design and the aesthetics and all this stuff. And it was just so cool. I mean, dude, call me a universal adult. I don't care, okay? I love this park. I want to go back to this park so bad. You know what I mean? I just want to go there, not even just to ride the rides. I mean, the rides are awesome in and of themselves, but I just want to go and just chill. I want to go hit up a Starbucks, get my PSL, find a nice place to sit and just take in the sights and sounds, and maybe just hop around. Maybe I spend the early morning in Celestial Park, and then maybe I hit up, Paris or something like that. That's another cool place, I gotta say. We didn't spend a whole lot of time in the Paris area, which is where the Harry Potter ride is, because of everything else that we were doing. But they got a little coffee shop there. Don't remember what it's called, but it's something in French. I would love to just sit there and early in the morning, just with my pumpkin spice latte, just whip out a laptop and just start doing some work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know why my fantasy is drinking coffee at a coffee shop doing homework or just doing like video editing or something like that. But that's my fantasy. You know, I want to go to this coffee shop and just, just work, just edit some videos and just take in the sights and sounds of, I mean, it's not really Paris, but, a Paris-like place, So yeah, so we got lunch at this pizza place called Pizza Moon. And even that place was so intricately designed and it was so cool. That the vibe was very nice, and the pizza was pretty fire too, I gotta say. Definitely try that place if you go, Pizza Moon. And then after we had lunch, I think that was when we were like, okay, well let's hit up Burke, the How to Train Your Dragon area. So we pulled up, very cool area too. Honestly, I think Burke was one that I was really excited for when I was seeing like the concept art and seeing some of like the construction and some of the early videos, because I think it's like the biggest land that they have there right now. And it looks straight out of the movies. And it was so cool walking in and just, seeing all that stuff. And we didn't see too many. We didn't see like the little like robot dragons walking around. But, of course there was like this Arctic dragon or something like that every once in a while he like blew like cold air. It was like a steam type thing. He just like blew cold air around. That was pretty cool. And we didn't do a meet and greet with Toothless, but we saw the meet and greet with Toothless. And so I was able to see that animatronic. That was really cool. I kind of wish that we were able to do a meet and greet, but just didn't have the time to do it. But we did, when we got there, we decided to hit up the show because we wanted to see both shows. We wanted to see the Circus Paris show, and then we wanted to see the How to Train Your Dragon show. And the next one was like right then, so we're like, okay, well, let's just hit up the show right now. So we go to the How to Train Your Dragon area, go to the show. The show was pretty good. It was like, the coolest part was where like Toothless comes in with Hiccup and he's like flying around the auditorium. That was the coolest part. As for like the sort of show itself, it's a little kiddie, but that's what it's geared towards. So, like I can't really complain. It wasn't made for me, but what was so funny though in that show, I gotta say, they had this part where like baby dragons flew in or something like that on the stage, and the dragons that flew in were just like fucking sausages. Like they were sausages with like little wings, and the wings weren't even moving. Like they just floated in. There's just a floating sausage just flew in. And oh my God, I was dying. It wasn't supposed to be funny. It was just supposed to be like, oh my God, look, little baby dragons. Isn't this so cool? I was crying. It was like the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, like I said, little cute show. Like I said, it's made for kids. But then after the show, we wanted to go on like the dragon roller coaster that they had there, but it was like really long wait while we were there. And so we're like, okay, well, let's not do it right now. But they had this other ride there called Fire Drill. It was a little boat ride, okay? And it's supposed to be like a water-esque ride. Now, I didn't really want to get... I didn't really want to get wet. I didn't really want to get wet that day. But, I also kind of wanted to try all the rides. And so we're like, it was like a 5-minute wait or something like to go on this ride, the Fire Drill. And so we're like, you know what? How about let's walk over there, see what it's like, see how wet you get on this ride. See how wet other people are. when they get off, see how wet they are. So we walked over there, and honestly, people getting off, pause. The people who are exiting the ride, they weren't that soaked. Like they just had a few like water spots over them, but like they weren't that bad. They were. And so I was like, okay, maybe you won't get that. Maybe you don't get that wet on this ride, So we're like, let's just try it out. So we get on the ride, and you could tell right when we sat down, there's just fucking water everywhere, all over this boat. And I'm like, okay, I'm starting to think that maybe we're going to get wet on this ride. But I'm also kind of like looking at the track and seeing people go through, and I don't see any like spot, because it's sort of like, you know, like those like laser games that they have at theme parks, like you know, like Men in Black at Universal, or like the Buzz Lightyear ride at Disney. You know, you just have sort of like a gun and you just like shoot the lasers at the targets and all that stuff. That was basically what this is, but instead of lasers, it was water guns, and they just had targets and you just had to shoot the targets, right? And so I'm kind of like looking around, but I don't see anywhere where like the targets are shooting water back. So I'm like, you know, like, I guess you don't really get that soaked on this ride, right? So we get on and we're going through, and the beginning is fine, right? We're just like shooting and, you know, doing all this stuff, right? But then all of a sudden, this just stream of water just comes over and just hits me. And it's consistent. It just keeps hitting me. And I'm like, I'm trying to move out of the way, but it's just like, it's almost like it's following me. And I'm like, where is this coming from? You know, I'm like looking all around, looking behind me and all that stuff. It turns out in the boat behind us, there was this little fucking bitch girl who had turned her cannon away from the targets and was shooting our boat. Okay? I was livid. Because I was drenched. I was literally soaked from head to toe. She was getting our whole boat. Everyone in our entire boat got absolutely soaked. I looked like I had just jumped in the pool. You know? I was pissed. I'm like, me and this little girl, we got beef now. We got beef. Okay? I'm just kidding. I know she's just trying to have fun, but still, I was just like, I was soaked. And she's in the other boat, and she's like, get him! And I'm like, you are sadistic. What is wrong with you? Why don't you just play the ride? You know, just shoot the targets like you're supposed to. Why are you shooting us? You know? So of course I'm like, I'm gonna get some revenge. And so I turned my water cannon towards them, and I feel like the ride operators knew what I was doing, because they literally just shut off my cannon. Like it just sort of stopped working, you know? Because it's not just like, you don't just like pull a trigger and there's just like a constant stream of water. There's like a crank, and you gotta like pump the water. And like at the beginning, you know, I had some water pressure, you know, and I was able to fire and hit the targets and all that stuff. But like the moment I turned to start trying to get my revenge, you know, trying to avenge my honor, my dignity, okay, from being absolutely soaked, it's like I pumped, and it was just like this little pitiful, like just a little water, you know, like the gun squirted, you know. That's all it did. And I'm like, let me take my revenge. Let me have my revenge against this little girl. But yeah, no, it's like they shut off my water. And so we got off the ride. I was ready to throw hands, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I was soaked. I was drenched from head to toe. And, you know, like I said, I know she's just trying to have fun. So, like, I'm not actually mad at her, you know. But I was just sort of upset because I didn't really want to get wet. You know, I at the very least, I didn't want to get soaked. I didn't want to get soaked. You know, I didn't mind if I just got, like, a little bit, like, just some, like, water droplets and stuff like that. But I was drenched. It fucked up my hair. I'm, like, mad thinking about it. But yeah, we got off the ride, and I had my phone in my pocket and my wallet, because like I said, I didn't really think I was going to get that soaked. They had a bin where you could put like your bag, and I put my bag in there, but I should have put my phone in my wallet because my phone was soaked. Luckily, it's waterproof, okay? Because I don't have a case, you know, but these days phones are just naturally like waterproof or water resistant, so that was a good thing. But my wallet was soaked, and yeah, when we got off, they had like these like dryer things that you step into, and they just blow hot air to like dry you off. Never used those before, but some lady who was in our boat with us, who also got drenched because of this fucking bitch in the boat behind us. She paid for the dryer thing, but then she like bailed like within like 30 seconds because she said the air was too hot, and we were standing there, and she's like, you could just hop in, save money, just hop in and use it because I'm not going to use it anymore. So we hopped in, and I mean, I didn't get completely dry, but like I just was damp. Like I was dripping wet when I got off, but this dryer thing managed to get rid of that. And so I was sort of like, I was thoroughly damp, but I wasn't like dripping wet anymore. And so I was like, fucking bitch, I was so mad. But yeah, after that, what do we even do? Oh yeah, after that, I was like, we wanted to go on another ride, but since I was just like thoroughly damp, I was like, okay, I have to take a few minutes to just dry off, So let's just like, let's find a place to sit and relax, because also we had been going like, to the max, just trying to hit up everything. So we were moving, like we really didn't have any time for a break. I mean, I guess aside from lunch, but we had just been moving all day. So I was like, okay, let's just like relax, and all this stuff. So we got a beer, and we found a place to sit in the Burke area and just started like taking in the sights and sounds. And honestly, there was a ton of Mario merch, ton of people wearing like Nintendo Mario merch and all this stuff. But there was a few characters walking around, just like people who are dressed up. I do, call me a nerd, okay, but you need to nerd out, okay? But call me a nerd, but I do have a like a Hogwarts Harry Potter robe, from my house. Ravenclaws, stand up, the wise motherfuckers. I'm actually a Ravenclaw, and so I have a Ravenclaw Harry Potter robe, and we brought that because other members of my party had their own robes too. And so I brought that. I was wearing it for a little bit of the day. I didn't wear it all day. I wasn't wearing it when I went on this boat ride, thank God, because it just would have been absolutely soaked, and I don't want that. But there was other people who were walking around. They were like in character and all this stuff. And so we're just sort of like observing people watching. You know what I mean? Just being like, just sitting and drinking a beer and just observe people watching. You know what I mean? There was like this one person that was like, they were like Disney. So I learned this from a friend, okay, who's a big Disney fan. Apparently there's a thing called Disney bounding, which is where like you go to like a Disney park or something like that, and you dress not in the exact costume of a character, but you dress in sort of like, I guess you could say sort of like a modern rendition of like what their outfit would be or something like that. Like, you kind of know what I'm saying? So like you don't wear like the actual outfit, but you just sort of like, you dress in like the same color scheme, if that makes sense, maybe. I don't know. But we saw this person who was like universal bounding as like a Viking, but like a club girl Viking, because she was wearing like a club outfit, but then she got like this fur, like I don't even know, like a pauldron or something like that. Like it was just up here, and then like fur boots, because that's what the Vikings are wearing in the fucking movies. And so I was like, hey, there we go. We got someone universal bounding as a club girl Viking. You know what I mean? And we saw this one dude who pulled up. Well, we saw a ton of people who were like, that they were taking pictures for social media just by the way that they were like taking the photo and like, posing and all that stuff. We know that they were taking photos for Instagram. But we saw like this one dude who was he brought like a whole ass tripod for his phone, and he set it up to like take the perfect photo. And he was with his girl or whatever, and when they took the picture, he like went back, he checked it, and you could tell that maybe like he sort of enjoyed it. He sort of thought, he's like, okay, this looks pretty good, right? And he shows it to his girl, and I guess she didn't like it because he had to retake it. He had to reset up the tripod because he had taken it down and everything, because he was pleased with it, but she looked at it. She was not a fan. So he had to break out the tripod again, set it up, and take a few more photos. So that was pretty funny. But after we finished our beer and I was pretty dried off, what did we do after that? Was that? Oh yeah, we did the dragon roller coaster thing. We went on that because it was pretty short. Like usually before then it was like 100 minutes or like 150 minutes, and it went down to like 55. And we're like, might as well jump on it because also like, what else are we gonna do? Harry Potter's at like 200 minutes, and I even like the Mario Kart ride I think was at 80, and those are pretty much. I guess aside from the Yoshi ride that's also there in the Mario area, but I wasn't too hell-bent on going on that. But so I mean, aside from Mario Kart and the battle, and now this Hiccup Dragon ride, there was really nothing else, no other rides that we were dying to go on. So we're like, okay, might as well just get in line for this Hiccups thing, right? So we went on that. That was pretty good. I don't want to say it's bad, but it wasn't like my favorite roller coaster. I definitely think like the Minecart was the top, then it was the Stardust Racers, then it was like this ride. And then the werewolf one would be lower than the Hiccups Dragon thing. Like I said, maybe that werewolf ride would be better at night and not during the day, but I didn't really get a whole lot out of that werewolf ride. Not that it's bad, definitely go on it. But that was also like 75 minutes for most of the day. Like we managed to get on when it was like a walk on because like I said, we were there super early. But for the rest of the day, that ride was at 75 minutes. And I'm like, am I missing something? Did I miss something when I was on that ride? Because I mean, like, why is it this popular? I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, we went on the Hiccup ride and that was pretty good. And after we got off that, I think that was when we decided to hit up Mario Kart because it went down from like 80, it went down to like 60 or something like that. So we're like, let's hop on that. And once again, Harry Potter is still like at 180, 200 minutes, whatever it was. And so we went on the Mario Kart ride, and I feel like I was just sort of like expecting more from it, but it was really confusing. They try to like integrate this like AR virtual reality type thing to the ride and all that stuff, but it honestly just kind of made things a little bit more confusing because I wasn't really looking at the outside. So they have like this, they got like this clear plastic that you put in front of your eyes. It's not goggles, but it's just like a visor or something like that. And they like project on their like the other Mario Kart characters that are in their carts, and they also got like the question mark cube things, and there's like coins that you collect and this, that, the other. And you use it, and you have like your steering wheel, and you can turn the wheel with the ride, and then you have buttons where you shoot like shells at whatever you're supposed to shoot them at to get coins and all stuff. And that's how you get points. And I guess like it's sort of like a competition between you and the other members of your cart. But I was focusing more on like the characters and like just trying to shoot my shells, that I wasn't really looking at what else was around me. So I don't really know everywhere that we went, you know? I don't really remember. I just remember just shooting a shit ton of shells. So honestly, like if I go back, I may just like ignore the visor and just try to take in the ride itself. Cause I heard like a lot of people did that. I think when like the California one opened, because I think I got Mario Kart over there, I think, right? When their Nintendo Land opened, there was like some people who complained about that, and so I think they sort of made it an option to like play the game or just take in the ride. But I did fairly well, I think. You know, I think so they have like a scoreboard at the end, and they kind of show like who was the top of all time, and then who was the top for like the day or whatever. And I think the top of all time was like 259 coins or something like that. So points. And the highest of the day was like 230 or something like that. And I know I just said that I think I did pretty good, but I got 135 coins. And I didn't really know what I was doing for the first half of the ride. You know, like I know they sort of had like a pre-show where they kind of like told you what you're supposed to do, but I didn't really understand it when I got onto the actual ride, because like I'm trying to like win the race, right? And I guess I didn't initially realize that I could shoot the other drivers. Like I thought it was more important to like steer to like just get ahead of everyone. But then like halfway through I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can shoot these motherfuckers." So I just started like shooting them and got a ton of points that way. So just 100 more coins and I could have been like tied for the top of the day. So I don't think it would be too terribly hard to win that record. Too bad they don't like allow you to put your name next to it. Just so everyone who goes on the Mario Kart ride could see like Jay Lyons' highest scorer of all time. That'd be pretty lit. But in the Mario area, they had like these like head things that you can wear that were like of the different characters. Like, I mean, obviously they have like the Mario hat and the Luigi hat, but they also had like a Toad one where it was just like the mushroom, and then they had like a Donkey Kong one that you would wear where it was like, you know, Donkey Kong's face, and you like attached it at the bottom and it had a tie, and then there was like a Bowser one. I wanted to get one of those so bad because I just thought they were funny. I saw a ton of people wearing Toad ones of all. Like, I would have figured that the Mario ones or the Luigi ones would be like the top sellers. And there were a few people who were wearing the Mario and Luigi hats, but like I said, I saw a ton of Toads. So, I don't know, maybe is that like a fan favorite character? I don't know. But yeah, and I gotta say, that Nintendo area is just awesome. I mean, there's so much to look at. There was so much going on, so many things just moving and all this stuff. And so it was awesome. The Mario Kart was a little, I mean, it was fun. It was sort of lackluster in my opinion. The minecart ride was awesome. The Donkey Kong area was also awesome. Donkey Kong area was right up my alley. I mean, tropical island vibes. I mean, oh man, I could live in that area. That area was awesome. So yeah, I mean, I think the Nintendo area in conjunction with the Donkey Kong area, that's got to be like my favorite land in Epic Universe. I mean, that whole area was just freaking awesome. Loved it. You know, Burke was pretty cool. But Nintendo, that was awesome. And Celestial Park is awesome. I feel like when people talk about like what their favorite areas are, a lot of people like forget Celestial Park because it's just sort of like, oh, that's the center of the area of the park. But honestly, top tier land, heavily slept on. That center area is just, it's beautiful, honestly, like truly. And I mean, I could spend all day just in Celestial Park and just taking in the sights and sounds and all that. It was just, it's awesome. But yeah, so then after Mario Kart, what did we do after Mario Kart? I don't even know. Was that? Oh yeah, so after Mario Kart, I think we kind of wanted to go to dinner, but I wanted to try over in the Burke area. They have like these they have like this mac and cheese shit that's like in a garlic bread cone or something like that. At least I think it's garlic. I don't know. But it's some sort of like bread cone, right? So you got a bread cone, they stuff it with mac and cheese, and there's like 3 different versions. There's one that's like the classic where you get the mac and cheese, but then you get like goldfish on top, like the crackers, you know, and not white people. I'm talking about the food crackers. Then there's like another one. What's the other one? It's like I think they call it like a PB&J, but it's not peanut butter and jelly. It was like pork, bacon, and then there was some sort of like bacon jelly, I think it said. It was some kind of jelly, but it wasn't like grape jelly. It was, like I said, I think it was like a bacon jelly or something like that. So you get the mac and cheese, and then you get like that, you know, pork, bacon, and jelly stuff on top. And then they had one that I wanted to try. I want to go back and try it. I mean, we just got the regular classic just to start out, just to be like, okay, let's have the original, let's have the classic just to try it out, right? But the third one was like this, you know, fiery. I think it was called like the fire spitter or something like that, and it was like a spicy chicken on it, and like some other like I think they had like jalapenos on top or something like that. That one I really want to try. I'm a jalapeno spicy chicken just spicy anything. I like hot foods, right? And so, like, I wanted to try that, but like I said, we wanted to try just get the classic just to start out. So we got the classic. It was pretty good. But like I said, I want to try that. I want to try that fire spitter or whatever. I mean, I feel like that would be fire. Honestly, I mean, it's in the name. It's got to be fire. So we decided to get that and then bring that over to where we were going to have dinner and just sort of have it as like maybe like an appetizer or something like that, or like just something in addition to our meal. So we brought that over and we ate at Das Steakhouse over in the Dark Universe. That was really cool. I feel like I kind of expected a little bit more from it. It had like nice ambiance, but I feel like there should be more going on to sort of like really fill out the ambiance, in my opinion. Because I mean, like it was just sort of like design wise cool, but I guess I was kind of thinking it was gonna be like a rainforest cafe type thing, because they had some like statues of like monsters coming out of like, because it's like you were like in a crypt, right? You know what I mean? Like it was just like there's like a coffin. You know what I mean? Like a crypt. Like I said, like a crypt. And so there was like some like monsters that were like coming out of the crypt a little bit, like vampires and stuff. And so I guess I was kind of thinking it was going to be like a rainforest cafe type thing where there's going to be like a moment where like all of them like open up and other monsters are coming out and everyone's like, oh, screaming and all that stuff. But they didn't have that. It was just sort of like a restaurant that was just nicely themed or something like that. But like I said, it was nice. It was cool. I just kind of thought there was gonna be like a little bit more to it. But good food. I got like this grilled chicken thing. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like a grilled chicken thing. They got like burgers that got, they got black burger buns. But I tried the chicken. It was pretty good. When I go back, I think I might just get like a burger the next time, though. That kind of seems like it was a bad sign. But that, honestly, I mean, the chicken was a little dry. That's just my thing. It was a little dry, but they had like a real nice sauce that went with it, and it gave it a nice kick. It was a little spicy, and like I said, I like hot foods, right? So it gave it a nice kick, and so if you have the chicken, obviously with the sauce, it's really good. But I mean, the chicken was kind of dry by itself, so. That's just my little critique, okay? But I don't know. Maybe I just got a bad chicken. I don't know. But yeah, it was a nice place. I got to see the flaming windmill. What's it called? Isn't it called like the Burning Blade Tavern? I think it's what it's called. That was cool to see. It's like an old fashioned like big ass windmill, and the blades catch fire at certain points and all that stuff. Like they ring like a bell. And then, like, that's how you know, like, the windmill's about to catch fire. And so, after we had dinner, the only ride that we wanted to go on, I mean, aside from trying Stardust Racers at night, the last thing we wanted to do was the Harry Potter ride. And I think it was like 180 minutes still. And so we're like, okay, we're going to have to wait in this line, whether we want to or not, we're gonna have to wait in this line. If we want to go on the ride, we're gonna have to wait, and that would pretty much take us to like closing time because it was like pretty late in the day. And I was like, well, before we get in line, because when you go to theme parks, okay, I don't know if you guys know this, might be giving you a little secret, but as long as you get in line before the park closes, right? Like, they're not going to kick you out of line, if that makes sense. Right? Now, this Harry Potter ride is going to sort of throw that for a loop, and I'll explain that in a bit. But, like, when you go to, like, a theme park, right? If you go to a theme park and it's, like, 15 minutes until closing or something like that, and you go up to a ride and it's, like, a 45-minute wait, like, don't be like, oh, man, if I get in 15 minutes, they're just going to shut down the ride and kick everyone out. It's like, no, like they have to. Well, I don't know if they have to, but they do. They finish at the line. It's just when the park closes, that's when the line closes. So as long as you're in line, you're going on that ride unless you decide to exit. And so I was like, well, before we commit ourselves to this 180 minutes, let's get on this Monsters Unleashed ride just one more time, because it was like a 5-minute wait. Let's get on that one more time and then head over, because I wanted to go on that ride again. Because like I said, I thought it was awesome. I was like, we're here in the Dark Universe. Let's just hop on that ride, walk on, get on the ride, and then we'll walk over and get in line for Harry Potter. So we're like, okay. So we went back on the Monsters Unchained ride. And like I said, it was just as awesome as before. My favorite ride. I'm just going to say it's my favorite ride in that park. Went on that one more time, just as awesome as the last time or the first time, And then we went over to Harry Potter. And when we got off the ride, I don't know what happened, but when we got off of the Monsters ride, the line for Harry Potter had dropped to like 45 minutes somehow. I don't know what happened. I don't know, maybe like everyone just went to dinner at that time. But like when we got off the Monsters ride, we're like, well, we better hit up this ride right now because it's hella short. It's only like, what I say, it was like 50 minutes or something like that. So we're like, okay, well let's go. So we booked it over there, and we got in line, and yeah, so we were there, and I mean that area is awesome too. Like the Paris area, we weren't able to do the show. Like I said, I wanted to, but we weren't able to do that circus show. But we got in line for the battle, and the line itself is also really cool. Just going through the flu powder thing. It's freaking awesome. And then yeah, just like inside, if you're a Harry Potter fan and you know what the Ministry looks like, I mean, dude, this shit looks straight out of the movie. It's freaking awesome. You know what I mean? And so we get on the ride, we go through the queue and all that stuff. And all the queues have just been very well done. You know what I mean? I'm thoroughly impressed by all the queues. And we get on the ride, and it's sort of like a Tower of Terror type seating arrangement. If you've been on Tower of Terror at Disney, you're like in this box, and then there's just like rows of seats. It almost looks like a theater, kind of like a mini little theater or whatever. But yeah, like you're in this box elevator thing, right? And so, the ride gets going, and they had some screens, but they also had a mixture of animatronics. And like I said, it was really well done also. Like the first time we saw an animatronic, it was like a Death Eater, and he was like standing on like this podium. Like we come around, and he's standing there, and he's like fighting the other wizards and all this stuff. And like for a hot second, I was like debating of whether or not that was a real person in like a Death Eater outfit, just like a live action actor playing along with the screen, or if it was an animatronic, right? But it has to be an animatronic, just because it's like, really. Do you really think that they pay someone to just stand there for every single ride to come through to just pretend like they're fighting? They get no breaks. So yeah, it had to be an animatronic, but that's just like a testament to just how good these animatronics looked. I mean, they looked so lifelike. The motions were fluid and smooth, and it was awesome. Like I said, I'm a big animatronic fan. Okay, this ride had a lot more screens than the Monsters ride, but still had a nice mixture with animatronics, and yeah, I mean that ride was awesome too. It was really fun, really cool, and yeah, like I said, I don't know if I'd wait 180 minutes though. Just being a Florida resident, it's like, to me, I don't usually wait in a line any longer than 45 minutes, right? If it's a super popular ride and I've never been on it before, so like when we went to Epic Universe, like I'll wait an hour, but that's really the max. I really don't want to wait any longer. But I take that back. The longest I've ever waited in a line for was when I went on the Hagrid's ride at Universal at Islands of Adventure, the Hagrid's motorcycle or whatever. That was the longest I've ever waited in a line for a ride. It said that it was like 120 minutes. It was like a 2-hour wait for this ride. But, I was with someone, and we had done literally every ride. We were done for the day and all this stuff. And it was only like 2 hours until park closed anyways. And so I'm like, might as well just spend the last 2 hours just waiting in line for this or something like that, So we just hopped in line, and we actually only waited an hour and a half for it. It wasn't even 2 hours, but that's the longest I've ever waited in line for a ride ever. But yeah, so after we got off the Harry Potter ride, we very briefly just sort of slowly made our way out of Paris because we wanted to go to the nighttime water show that they have in Celestial Park, which was going to be happening soon because the park was closing soon. And so we wanted to go to that, but we kind of wanted to take in the sights and all that stuff of Paris, but definitely going to have to go back and spend more time in there because we didn't really spend any time in the Harry Potter area just because of how things panned out. And yeah, so like to talk about the line situation, for the Harry Potter ride, they actually closed the line before the park closed. And I guess that's because they didn't want to wait. They didn't want to wait another 2 hours after the park had closed, letting people go on this ride. So they closed it around, because like the park closed at 10. So I think they closed it probably around like 9 or 9:30 or something like that. Because when we were at the beginning of us being in line, I guess everyone else also noticed that Harry Potter somehow went down to like 50 minutes or whatever, because then it just blew up in wait time and it went like all the way back up to 180 minutes. But like halfway through the queue, you can kind of like see where like the flu powder areas where people are coming in from the outside into the ministry area, and there was no one coming through, and you could see like the end of the line just like it was clearing out the back. And so I'm like, okay, obviously they shut down the line before the park closed, just so they can finish up with these people in line and all that stuff. So, I mean, maybe that's something to think about when you go to Epic Universe. You know, don't take exactly what I said as absolute fact. Because, I mean, that ride it may just be that ride specifically, but there have been times where it's like I've gotten in line for something when it was like a 20 or 30-minute wait, like right before the park closed. I'm talking like minutes before it closed, and they still let me on to go on the ride. So anyways, but like I said, we got off the Harry Potter ride, and we're like, well, let's pick up some butterbeer because they got butterbeer there. And I don't know if you know, but I'm a big butterbeer fan. I love butterbeer. So we got ourselves a couple frozen butterbeers and made our way to the water area, and we saw the water show. It was really nice. Awesome water show. You know, they have that fountain that Epcot used to have. You know, in Future World, Epcot used to have this big fountain where they shot water up, and they had a whole water show and all this stuff throughout the day with lights and all this stuff. And then they got rid of it. Then they just totally destroyed all of Future World and got rid of that fountain. And then Universal's like, well, you know, people love that shit, so we're going to put it in our park. And that theater was filled trying to see this water show. So, I mean, Epcot, Disney, y'all fucked up. Y'all are missing out. But yeah, and thanks to me that they even have that, that they even have that little theater. Because like I said, I worked on that. I worked on that little section. So I went to the area that I worked on, and I was trying to remember exactly what I did. And based off what I saw, they had like a little mini Starbucks, like so they had like a Starbucks that you actually enter. That's like an actual like storefront that you walk in and all that stuff. And then they had, that's like right at the beginning, the entrance of the park of Celestial Park and the park entirely. But then they have a small one that's just like a little pickup window. And that's by the theater right in front of like the Dark Universe. And I think based off what I remember, I guess I did the Starbucks shop. I did the Starbucks shop, and then basically like that bottom quarter of the theater right there. So, you know, I did all that. So you're welcome. You're welcome. Now you have a Starbucks because of me, and you actually have a theater. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. So after the show, I mean, the park was closed because that's like the closing show. You know, that's like that's like their goodbye show or whatever. So they finished up the show, and we meandered our way out. You know, we stopped by and we watched some of the last few like Stardust Racers go by at night. Like I said, we weren't able to go on it. We weren't able to go on the yellow track. And like I said, we wanted to go at night, but like I said, we just weren't able to. But I mean, all in all, it was a great day. So I mean, the only things that we weren't able to do was the Yoshi ride in the Nintendo area. We didn't get to do the little carousel thing in Celestial Park, like the merry-go-round thing. Didn't get to do that. And then they had like these they had like this carnival type ride over in the Burke area. That's like you sit in a chair and you got like these wings and you can like turn them and you can like spin your cart, and then all of them are like attached to this big arm that sort of spins around too. So we weren't able to go on that, which I mean I'm not too upset about missing that. So yeah, like I said, so we missed that dragon ride, missed the carousel, the Yoshi ride, the second Stardust Racer, and then we weren't able to see the Paris show. Which, honestly, naming all those out does sound like we missed a lot. Like, we missed, like, 5 things. But, I mean, we were able to do both the Dark Universe rides. We were able to do the fire drill ride, the water ride at Burke. We were able to go on the Dragon roller coaster. We were able to do the Dragon show. Okay, we did Mario Kart, the Mine Cart ride. What else? Oh, and then we did one of the Stardust Racers. So, I mean, we did 8 things. Oh, and Battle of the Ministry. So we did 9 things. So I don't know. I feel like we did quite a bit, you know. And we were able to see the nighttime closing show, and we got butterbeer, and yeah. So then that was our day at Epic. It was an epic day. Took quite a few pictures and all that. Went back to our hotel. Nice hotel, honestly. We got like I don't want to necessarily call it a park view. Our room was facing the park, but you can't see like a whole lot of the park. You know, it's not like the Helios Hotel, because the Helios Hotel is like right in the park. So if you get a park view room in that hotel, I mean, you're basically seeing the inside of the park. Yeah, like I said, nice hotel and all that. Caught the end of the Notre Dame game that night. They fucked up. Notre Dame fucked up. They were, we were sort of like, you know, checking the score throughout, the end of our time in Epic Universe, because I think that game was like at 7:30 or something like that. So we're sort of like observing the score, and I feel like Notre Dame was pretty much in the lead the entire time. Yeah, like they were playing Texas A&M, and like they were sort of like, you know, keeping up with Notre Dame, but like Notre Dame was like ahead, I think, for like most of the game. But then when we got back to our room, the fourth quarter had just started, and I don't remember. I think they were tied at that point, and I was like, okay, this ain't looking good, right? And I think one of them, I can't remember if it was A&M or if it was Notre Dame, but one of them got a field goal first. Then the other one got a field goal, so they were tied again. I think Texas A&M got a field goal first. Then it was Notre Dame. Then they were able to stop A&M, I think. And then Notre Dame went back out and they got a touchdown. And I was like, okay, here we go, right? And then when they went for the extra point, the dude who's supposed to catch the ball after, you know, it's snapped and set up the football for the kicker to kick the ball, he screwed it up, wasn't able to get the ball down in time, so they had to, you know, abort the kick, and he gets up, and yeah, admirable effort, I gotta say. He tried to throw the ball to get like to some guy in the end zone, I guess, to try to get 2 points. I don't know. I don't even know how that works. I guess that does. Because usually, actually, I think 2 points would be closer. So if you decide to go for the one extra point, the ball is set at a certain distance away from the goal line to kick the ball into the field goal. But then if you're going for 2 points, it's at a different place. But like I said, I think 2 points is actually closer. So, because if it was further away, I would be like, how is that allowed? Because why not just say, oh, we're going for a kick, and then just screw it up and then go for 2 points? That way you're closer. But yeah, I guess if 2 points is closer, then you're kind of like screwing yourself if you do that. But yeah, so I guess he tried going for the 2 points, throwing the ball. Of course, bro's not a quarterback, so the ball was thrown horribly, was not to the receiver. Of course, they missed it, and so they were only up by 6 points. They weren't even up by 7. And so I was like, okay, well, I guess the defense has to somehow prevent these guys from, getting a touchdown or whatever. And the defense just they couldn't do it. And Texas A&M, they got a touchdown and they got a field goal, or they got the extra point, and so they won by 1 point. It was 40-41. And I was like, you gotta be shitting me. Notre Dame, you fucking screwed the pooch. So it's otherwise a bad ending to a good day, you know? But yeah, we got up the next morning, like I said, got my PSL, my pumpkin spice latte, and we went to Volcano Bay, which is Universal's water park. Spent the day there, nice and relaxing. Very nice day. And I didn't think I was that tired from that, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, like, it was an otherwise relaxing day, especially at Volcano Bay. Like, I figured I'd be really tired after Epic Universe from all the walking and just being up early, trying to get into the park early, and then being there late. So I thought I'd be really tired that day. But I got up at 6 a.m. on Sunday, like right when my alarm went off. I'm like, yep, your boy's up. But went to Volcano Bay. I wasn't tired like at all. Went on so many rides, like I said. It was nice and relaxing and all this stuff. But then like that night, Sunday night, I passed the fuck out, and I didn't get up Monday morning until like 10. So I must have been really fucking tired, to sleep in. I haven't slept in that late in forever. I don't even know when the last time I woke up at 10. You know what I mean? It must have, honestly, actually, usually when I go clubbing the night before, I wake up that late. But even then, I only wake up at like 8 or 9. I have like an internal clock, right? So I have like an alarm on my phone that goes off at 6 a.m. and I try to get up at that time. But if I don't, my internal clock always wakes me up either like 7 or 8. You know what I mean? Like that's when I naturally wake up. But but like if I go clubbing or something like that, or I'm just out late, right? I only really sleep in until 9. I don't sleep in until 10. And so, and I didn't even go to bed late Sunday night. Like I went to bed at like 9 or 10 p.m. I was on the couch and I was watching something. I was watching like a movie, I think, and I just fell asleep. And I woke up in the middle of the night to go to my room to sleep in my bed. But like I said, I don't know. I must have been really fucking tired because I slept right through my alarms and then get up until like 10. And yeah, like also, me and a friend of mine, we were planning to like link up on Monday in the afternoon, and we were trying to figure out like where we were going to go. And the night before, I was sort of like looking at some places before I fell asleep. And so I told my friend, like, okay, I'm looking at places to go. And she's like, okay. And like I said, I ended up falling asleep, and I woke up the next morning at like 10, and I'm like, oh my God, we're going to be like hanging out soon. Like I got to find out like where we're going. So it was sort of a stressful morning right when I woke up, because I had to like just rush to try to find like a place for us to go. And we ended up going. So that was all good. But yeah, like I said, I haven't woken up that late in forever. But yeah, so that was my little trip. That's my little trip. And then yeah. So I had an epic weekend. It was absolutely epic. Aside from that little bitch ass girl, okay, who decided to fuck up my whole day, fuck up my hair. Okay, we got beef. We got major beef going on. All right. Count your days, little girl. We're fighting someday. Like I said, I'm not actually mad. Like I said, she's just trying to have fun. But still, I mean, even when I was a kid, I wouldn't do that to someone. I'd be scared, because I think that'd be a little rude. If the name of the game was to shoot the other people in the boat, right? That's one thing. But I wouldn't be like playing a game where they're like, okay, just like shoot the targets. And I'm like, okay, but what if I just shoot the innocent people in the boat who are also trying to have fun? I wouldn't do that. But yeah. So other than being absolutely drenched, I was drenched both days because I went to a water park the next day. So, but I mean, other than getting drenched, my hair didn't look too terrible on Saturday after I got soaked, but it looked good like right after it happened. Like somehow I still achieved lift. It kind of looked like this, despite being absolutely drenched, especially going in that like dryer with like the wind blowing. I was able to like poof it up a little bit, and I'm like, okay, maybe the day's not totally ruined. Okay, when it comes to my hair, but after the day went on, it just sort of like collapsed, and so by the end of the day, I'm like, I look horrible. I'm sorry, ladies. I'm sorry. I just looked so bad, but it is what it is, I guess. Otherwise, it was a great weekend. Got a lot of steps in. Had some good food. Had a few drinks. It was good. It was a good day. It was a good time. So yeah, that was my little vacation that I took, and bit of a longer episode. Just trying to talk about my epic day, my epic trip. But it's good to be back. It's good to be back, hopping back on, doing another podcast episode. Got another video I'm working on. I hope you guys enjoyed my last one. It didn't really get a whole lot of views, but I mean, like, I can't necessarily blame because it was different. I had to do like a little let's play thing. And that's another thing. I totally forgot that I had to do that until the day that I was leaving for my trip, and I'm like in the middle of packing. I had just done some laundry. I was taking stuff out and I was folding it and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, make sure I got everything and all that stuff. And then I'm like, do I have any work that's due? And I checked and I had this assignment that's like, okay, yeah, record yourself playing like this really old video game. Like send me like a website of like a arcade emulator or something like that. And it's like, record yourself playing a game from here and all this stuff and upload to YouTube. And I'm like, are you shitting me? So I had to stop I had to stop packing, and then I had to do that video. But I mean, it was fun. I had to edit it really quick. There's a lot of edits that I wish I had done differently, but I had to get that video out and uploaded before I went on my trip. But yeah, so like I said, I mean, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty fun. I love the thumbnail. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite thumbnails that I've made. Is that one. So yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Watch that video. If you haven't already, make sure to watch my other video, the weird Instagram account. That's one of my favorite videos that I've ever made. So yeah, and watch all my videos. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, subscribe here. Whatever you guys are listening to this on, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow and leave a review. All that really helps me out a lot. Follow me on social media at RealJLions and at Lion on Main on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. All those things will be linked in the description, so you can just click on my channel, click on my, social media pages, and just it'll take you right there. Yeah, that was my epic weekend. Here's my epic coffee mug with my epic coffee. That's probably cold now. Yeah, it's pretty cold. Sun is shining on me. Beautiful day. Take in some sunshine today, guys. All right, take in some sunshine. Touch some grass, and I'll see you guys in the next episode or in the next YouTube video. So, love you. I don't know. Do I?